there everybody, it's Mike DiLisio, and today I'm going to be taking a look at The Yellow House, a two-player only trick-taking game from designer Gogh, and the original publisher was Mondu Games, but it has recently been put in wider release in the Americas by 25th Century Games. This is a game themed around two famous artists who are debating over what is most important in art. So let's head over to the table, I'll let you know how the game plays, then we'll come back here and I'll let you know what I think. Okay, here we see the Yellow House all set up, and we've got here the board, the canvas board that's going to tell you the strength of all of the elements here. We've got 4 elements in the game. You've got money, you've got passion, you've got skill, and you've got inspiration, and these are going to be moving up as players play cards. Each player is going to be dealt a hand of 12 cards. There will be 5 of these support cards that are just available here, and then you've got 4 cards that were left over, although this pile will be diminishing by 1 every round. The game goes to a maximum of 5 rounds, although it could end earlier than that. Okay, so on your turn, you're going to be doing one of 2 things. You're either going to be making a claim, actually one of 3 things. You're either going to be making a claim, strengthening an element and making a claim, or passing. So let's say the first player here, the one on the left, is going to look through their hand of cards and they're going to pick any one element that they want to play. So right now, since they're all equal, they're going to go ahead and play this inspiration card. And then this is going to move up 1. And that is their turn, okay? Because you'll see how it goes when you want to strengthen a claim. So when you are making a claim, one of the things that has to be the case is that you can only play a topic that is stronger than the last claim and has not yet been played into the trick. So the first hand, there's nothing that had been played. They can go ahead and play whatever they want. Now, player 2 cannot claim inspiration because it's already been claimed. They have to choose one of the other 2. Now, all of these are of a lower value than inspiration. So to be able to play it, they have to be able to move one of these other elements exactly 1 higher than the inspiration. So they have to get one of these to a strength of 3 before they can make a claim, or they can just choose to pass. But in this case, they decide, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to claim that passion is more important than inspiration. And so what you have to do is play a number of cards equal to the value that you're going up to from where you are. So if I wanted to move passion to 3, I have to play 2 passion cards to get it to that strength. Now, I can either just do this, play these 2 passion cards, then adjust this and then play a 3rd passion card to make the claim, or I can choose to use one of these support cards, and that is what player 2 will do. They'll actually use one of these support cards, you can only ever use 1 per strengthening, to move it up 2, and now they will go ahead and claim with this passion card here, okay? Then it comes back to player 1. Now they're in a situation where they know that the only 2 elements that they can claim would be skill, which is purple, or money, which is yellow. And they do have a decent amount of yellow cards, so maybe they're going to go ahead and do that. They're going to go ahead and strengthen and then claim. So to get from 1 to 4, they have to play 3 cards. So what they'll do is they'll play 2, and actually these cards would have been discarded. They'll play 2 and a support to move this up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then they make the claim right here saying money is more important than all of those things, and it comes back to player 2. Player 2, the only thing they can play would be skill because all of the other ones have been played already. They would need 1, 2, 3, 4 skill cards plus 1 for the to actually claim it, and they can do that. So maybe they decide, yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to play 3 of these skill cards plus a support, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they still have 1 left over, and they can play that. Immediately, as soon as all 4 elements have been played into a trick into a round, that's going to end that round. The other way it would end is if a player ran out of cards. So in this case, player 2 closed it out. They would take this card as kind of their prize for winning that, and they would put it underneath their pallet. The game is going to end at the end of any round where either a player has 2 of the same element or 3 of any element. At that point, the game will end with that player being the victor. If no one has won at the end of the round, as would be the case here, then the cards would be dealt back out. You'd have to put 1 extra card to be able to deal 12 to each because 1 has been under the one of the pallets here, and you can continue going on until the game end is triggered, which could be 5 rounds, it could be earlier, depending upon how things play out. All right, that should give you a pretty good idea on how the yellow house plays. Let's head back up, and I will let you know what I think. All right, so there you have the Yellow House, a 2-player only trick-taking game with a very unique theme. And I do like the theme a lot, even though the game itself doesn't necessarily feel thematic. I like the theme that is there, and it does make some sort of sense when you are kind of discussing how that works. So, you know, you've got Van Gogh and Gogh, who I'm probably very poorly pronouncing, who are debating what is best in art, and you've got those 4 elements that are represented by the different suits. And so thematically, it's cool. It's a neat little touch. Does it help you learn the game? I don't know, but it certainly doesn't hinder from that. And so I do like the theme in this one a whole lot. I also love the art, and I think that that is fitting in a game that is about what is the most important things artistically. So some very nice art on the cards. There's not a whole lot of different art, but what's there is very, very nice. The components in the game are really terrific for a little small box game like this. The stitched canvas board is nice. It will curl up on the edges a little bit, but it doesn't affect the gameplay at all. The wooden pieces here are very, very nice. Not necessary, but certainly welcomed in a game like this. I think that it feels like a game about art because the art in the game and the components are very, very luxurious for the type of game it is. So let's talk about the gameplay. So it's one that is a trick-taking game, but it's also part of what you would call a ladder climbing game where you're trying to play in ascending values. And so you're usually having to play more and more cards to be able to continue to be in the trick. And so there are a number of these types of games out there, but what I think this game does interestingly is kind of how that's handled, and the inclusion of those support cards I think are very interesting too, because you have 5 of those per round, and so if they all get played, one player is going to be able to play them 3 times while the other player is only going to be able to play them 2. And that can be an interesting push-pull element where you're incentivized to use those support cards, although you can only use 1 per trick. It really does add a neat little twist to the game. And being able to, if you're going to increase a particular element, only being able to go exactly 1 beyond the highest element, that's a nice little twist and kind of makes the game very concentrated on hand management. This is a game that has a tremendous amount of hand management in it, and so that makes it feel unique as well. The win condition I also think is very interesting, being that you really would like to be able to ideally get 2 of the same element under your palette, because that's the quickest way that you can win the game. And but that's tough to pull off. It's not easy to pull that off. Alternately, you can get 3 of any element. So winning 3 out of the 5 rounds will also win you the game. And so I like those different win conditions too. I think that adds a nice little touch to the game. Deciding, maybe when it might be best to just pass. So, you're not necessarily always going to want to increase an element and then place it out. Sometimes passing is a better move for you too. So it's a simple rule set, not complicated to teach or learn, but it's a lot more clever than you might necessarily expect just from reading the rules. Once you get into actually playing the game and figuring out the pacing and the timing of things and how you want to best manage your hand, really can lead to some very clever plays, and the kind of the subtleties of the game design will reveal themselves more through playing than you might find just by reading the rules. So with all of that said, I feel like the Yellow House is a game that I'll easily recommend. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. The only thing that might keep it from getting into that excellence category is that, there are a lot recently of these two-player trick-taking games, and it takes something that really, really is so unique that I feel like I have to put it into that upper echelon. But this is right on the edge of that. I really do feel like this is an excellent game, and one that with an 8 out of 10 hopefully reflects that for me. All right, well, that's going to do it for me. This is Mike DiLisio, and I will see you on the next one.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you liked this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.